Hey everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. Today I have got a baked tofu gyro and a baked Greek style artichoke dish for you. So if you are interested in those two recipes, stay tuned. All right, so what I'm gonna be cooking up first is the baked Greek style artichoke hearts. So here's what you're gonna need for that. You're gonna need 1 lemon, 2 Roma tomatoes, 1 can of quartered artichoke hearts, 1 can of sliced olives, 1 small onion, some basil, capers, white cooking wine, salt and pepper to taste, and then some minced garlic. All right, so this recipe is super easy. I've got my oven preheating to 400 degrees, and I'm gonna take one of these small Pyrex dishes. I actually have a set of 2. So for the first dish, I'm gonna use the small Pyrex, and then for the tofu, I'm gonna use the larger Pyrex. So let's go ahead and start with this one. This is so easy. It's pretty much just dump and put it in the oven. So I've got my, my onion here, and I just went ahead and kind of sliced it up into kind of big pieces here. So we'll go ahead and put that in. And then my 2 tomatoes, I just roughly diced those, so they're pretty big pieces as well. Then for my lemon, I actually took a peeler and I peeled off a couple of strips of the zest and diced it up, and then I juiced half of that lemon, and I'm gonna go ahead and put that in. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and drain my artichoke hearts here. Let's just drain those into the bowls that I've already got here. All right, so I've got those drained. Now, I've tried this recipe with a couple of different artichoke heart brands, and I actually love this specific brand, this Napoleon brand. The like outside leaves are tender enough where you don't feel like you're like chewing on cardboard. So I suggest this brand. And I'm just gonna throw the entire can in. Okay, and then my olives. I'm actually not gonna use this entire can of olives. I'm gonna drain it just a little bit. Okay, and then I'm just gonna kind of take a couple of spoonfuls. Really, it's like however many olives you want. This is pretty much, the entire recipe is to taste. So I've just got like a regular teaspoon here, and I've done 2, we'll do 3 scoops. And these are just regular black olives. Okay, now I'm gonna put in some capers, and I'm just gonna do like 2 scoops of capers. And then I'm also going to put in a couple spoonfuls of the caper juice. And I'm going to do probably about a tablespoon or so of dried basil. And you can use fresh basil too. That would probably be amazing in this dish. Let's see. I've got my garlic here. I pre-mince my garlic and then just put it in little containers in my fridge. That way it's super easy and ready to go. I'm going to put about a spoonful of garlic in there. And then I've got some white cooking wine. If you've got a bottle of white wine already open, go ahead and use that. If not, then if you've got some white cooking wine in your pantry, that works just as well. And I'm gonna just kind of pour some in there. It's probably about 1/4 cup or so, I'd say. And then we're gonna do salt and pepper to taste. And that is it. So I'm gonna go ahead and stir this up. And this is gonna go in that 400-degree oven for 25 minutes, covered with some aluminum foil. And then after the 25 minutes, you're gonna uncover it, give it a stir, and then cook for another 10 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this in the oven, and then we will start with that baked tofu gyro recipe. All right, so here's what you're gonna need. You're gonna need a block of tofu, soy sauce, tomato sauce, Dijon mustard, anywhere from 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup of water, garlic powder, ground cinnamon, ground coriander, ground cumin, black pepper, and some oregano. All right, so I've had my block of tofu draining in this Tofuture gadget. I love this thing. If you've been just pressing your tofu on like a cutting board with a plate or whatever with some like paper towels or a towel, I highly recommend this. It's a little expensive, but it is totally worth it. I'm actually gonna get a second one for when we have like big family meals and I need 2 blocks of tofu. This thing is amazing. I went ahead and I started draining my tofu right before I started cooking the artichoke bake. So let me go ahead and take it out of here. And it is nice and strained. Now, I like the firm tofu, but you can also use extra firm on this. And if you've been using extra firm tofu and you haven't ever tried firm tofu, I highly recommend it. I was a believer in the extra firm tofu for the longest time, and then I tried the firm tofu. It is so much better. So I highly suggest trying it. Okay, so I'm basically gonna cut this up. Let's see. We're gonna do in half. I think it's about 12 pieces. Yeah, 12 pieces. So I'm gonna cut it in half and I'm gonna slice it into thirds, long ways. And then I'm gonna go ahead and cut that in half again. And I'm gonna do that on both sides. All right, so I've got my tofu all sliced up. I'm gonna go ahead and put that off to the side. And I'm actually just gonna mix this marinade right into this Pyrex dish. And if you don't have Pyrex dishes, you really should. They make life so much easier, especially this double set. I'll put a link in the description box down below to the set that I've got. And they're not very expensive, they're amazing. Okay, so we are gonna need, this says it's less salt, less sodium, soy sauce, but it's actually just regular soy sauce. So I'm only going to use 2 tablespoons of this. If you have low sodium soy sauce, you might need to use a little bit more. So maybe like 3 or 4. So I'm just going to put 2 in there. And then this is tomato sauce, despite it being in a roasted red pepper jar. And you're going to need 1/4 cup, which is also 4 tablespoons. So since I have a tablespoon, I'm just going to go ahead and put 4 in there. Okay, and then about a teaspoon of Dijon mustard. So I'm just gonna go ahead and measure that out in my tablespoon measure here. 1 teaspoon is about 1/3 of a tablespoon. All right, so there's that. Now for the dried spices. So I'm gonna do a 1/4 teaspoon each of the garlic powder, the cinnamon, and the black pepper. And normally when I'm cooking, I don't like pull all the spices out. I just kind of did that so I can show you guys. Normally what I do is I sit over by my spice cabinet with my measuring spoons and a little, one of these little glass dishes. And I just go through my recipe and I put all the spices in here. That way when I'm cooking, I just dump it all in really fast. So, I mean, this is all kind of dumping it in at the same time anyways, but yeah, you get the point. So next we're gonna need a 1/2 teaspoon of the coriander and the cumin. And then 1 teaspoon of the oregano. Oops, that's a little less than a teaspoon. There we go. Okay, so then I'm just gonna stir that up. I have a little spoon here. And this is where that water comes in. So I need this to be a little bit thinner so that my tofu can sit in it and marinate as it's baking. So just kind of dump some in here. Should be good. That was about, it's about 1/4 cup. Kind of depends too on the soy sauce that you've got. So if you have the low sodium soy sauce and you need to use more soy sauce than I used, then you would need less water. Actually, I'm going to put a little bit more. There we go. My cinnamon wasn't getting incorporated. All right, that is it. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and put the tofu pieces in, and I'm gonna lay them in and then flip them over. That way they get both sides covered in the marinade. And the firm tofu is a little bit crumbly, so you kind of have to be careful. Oof, this one piece is very crumbly. Once they cook up though, they're a lot more, they stay together a lot better. And you want to leave lots of room in between these, which is why I'm using this larger Pyrex dish, because you want to let them have all sides on that marinade so that they soak it all up. Okay, almost done. All right, that's it. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and put this in that 400-degree oven with the artichoke bake for 15 minutes. And then I'm going to take it out, flip them, and put them back in for another 10 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these started. I've been doing Brightline eating for the last couple of months, and that's basically a program to get rid of excess weight. So I'm using it to get rid of that last little bit of baby weight that I've been carrying around. Now, this meal is perfect for Brightline eating. The tofu is your protein. And then to make things easy so I don't feel like I'm just eating the same thing because it's a lot of vegetables, I like to do two different vegetable dishes. So the first vegetable dish is going to be that artichoke bake, and then the second one is actually going to be asparagus, but I forgot about my asparagus in the fridge, and so these are the only ones left that are any good, that have any life left. So I keep some of these in my freezer. These are Jennifer's Garden, and they're actually from the Dollar Tree. So this little pack of asparagus was $1. It's in my freezer, and I'm just gonna go ahead and throw these all into that pan over there on my stove and steam them for a little bit. And then I'm gonna put some salt on them and some white truffle oil. So for the fat portion, it's gonna be this truffle oil and the olives in that artichoke bake. And that's it, you've got a full Brightline eating meal. So if you want to know more about Brightline eating, if you haven't heard of it before, I will leave some links in the description box down below. I've really been liking it. It has helped me shed 10 pounds so far, actually 15 pounds so far. So I'm really liking it. So if you want more information, I'll put some links down in the description box down below. All right, so this is the finished product. These are so delicious. So I'm gonna go ahead and dish up a plate. Now I cut my tofu this way, and I cook it this way quite often. So I know that if I just have 4 pieces of these, it's about 4 ounces. So instead of driving myself crazy and trying to, like cut corners off of pieces to get exactly 4 ounces, I'm just gonna do 4 pieces and then call it good. Okay, and let me get some of this sauce because it looks really good. Just kind of throw that on top there. Okay, so there's my 4 ounces of protein. And now I've got my asparagus here. I already put salt on it and put that truffle oil on it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use them all. So that's 4.5 ounces, and I do a 10-10 split. So I'm looking for 10 ounces total for veggies. And I'm actually going to do a little bit over 10 because I want those olives to count as my fat. So I've got the oil on here, but it's not much. And then I'm just going to put like a couple of extra olives on here and call it good. There we go. And then I'll show you how much oil I've got on there. So here's a close-up of the bottle. And I just basically do like one dropper, do the whole dropper on my asparagus. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're not already a subscriber, click that little red subscribe button down below along with the notification icon so you don't miss any of my future videos. And I'll see you next time. And tonight, and that's basically just to get
See you next time.
Come here.
See you next time.
Say it again.
See you next time.
Say bye.
Bye.
Are we gonna go eat?
Yep.
Yeah. What are you gonna eat? Are you gonna eat this tofu and artichoke hearts with me? No. What are you gonna have?
Grilled cheese sandwich.
Grilled cheese sandwich because you're a preschooler.
Whoa.
All right. See you next time.
Yeah.